Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing all right. So good to see you all. And I haven't done many of these videos. I've been chilling out, doing them sporadically here or there. But I did a video or something about Unique Mecca Hall and whatever that was. But I've been watching him, and you know, um, I got I got mixed views and opinions and things like that. But I just want to get a few things off my chest. If you don't know Unique Mecca Hall, he was a big player, Kingpin in the crack epidemic, and he was, that's when crack was at its highest in the late '80s and the '90s, and he was a big player in that, and he went and did his 30 years or 26 years in prison and did his time and everything else. But when he's telling his stories, and he's looking back at Brooklyn, Bensonhurst, Bronx, and how, and it seems like he's trying to portray the Italians as being like in this submissive type of flavor, and he likes to use white boy, and the European and white boy, and he just says, "Oh, that's just the way I talk." So, well, okay, black boy. That's just the way I feel like talking today. Okay, Unique Mecca Hall, black boy. So that's just how I feel like talking. So the audience you can decide for yourself, what seems to be derogatory or not. But I don't feel comfortable in saying black boy or this or that, because that's not the way I grew up, but that's how he rolls. So go ride with him and all that racist bullshit. But the Italian mafia, so he claims that, even in prison and on the streets, no, you boys from Harlem go strolling through Brooklyn and Bensonhurst back then in the day and see what happens. But those boys from Brooklyn could go strolling through Harlem or the Bronx and everything else. Don't get it twisted. Yes, there's unique circumstances in everything, and there's exceptions to the rule, but the rule mostly was that the Italians had the authority. Okay, Unique Mecca, the Italians had the power. The Italian mafia had the power over all of New York City. Okay, yeah, the Harlem rock and rolled. Yes, they did. But you're not going to sit there and call yourself a drug kingpin and then say you completely didn't have any agreement or just common knowledge that these are the borders. We respect our borders, and we'll leave it at that. Whatever you make in that geographical area, fine. Whatever we make here is a mutual assumed meeting of the minds, an assumed agreement, but not by any force that you said to the mafia, we're doing this and we're doing that, and there's nothing you can do about it. There would have been 5 armies from 5 mob families coming down there and blasting all of you guys. I mean, come on. The Colombians and the cartels were hip on controlling the distribution and everything like that. And the mafia respected that, because there were some grimy, the drug cartels, the real people over Mecca, over him. But the Italian mafia might have had an agreement just to keep the peace and let everybody make money, but they were nobody's punks. Unique Mecca, they were nobody's punks. Let's just get that straight. The Italians fought with each other for power and rackets and everything else. What did you do, Unique Mecca Hall? You poisoned the community. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. If you didn't do it, someone else was going to do it. I understand that. I understand the hustle. I understand the game. But don't get up there and talk shit. And you're a racist. And you have a right to be. That's fine. God bless you. You're a racist. And you're begging. Oh, don't go to this Cash App. Oh, this is the wrong Cash App. Your subscribers know that already. But you throw that little segment in all your videos because you're a beggar. You're a beggar. Come on, drug kingpin. You up there begging on YouTube? Come on, man. You know, respect the hustle. Yeah, okay, you're begging. All right. I sell a little book. I wanted you to give me a little shout out. I sent you the book. I threw you a little bone. And what you end up being? A 2-bit hustler. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. It was my fault for being so stupid. I put you on a higher pedestal than that. Excuse me. I put you on a higher pedestal than that. My fault. I gave you the benefit of the doubt. You're institutionalized for 26 years, and I should have known better. Mm-hmm. So, the collateral damage you did to society is way more damaging than what the mafia did. The mafia killed each other. They killed their own. They killed everybody. And you know, I lost close people to crack. I lost some dear friends to crack, but they're big boys. They made their own decisions. But in the grand scheme of things, it is what it is. Okay. And the mafia protected the citizens in their community if they seen something astray or foul. They protected them citizens. If they saw a lady or a fellow, somebody getting disrespected in some force, they would take action and they would police the streets. So even though the mafia was doing violence on each other, they protected the streets. That there was nothing, no bullshit going on in the streets. What did you do to your streets, unique Mecca Hall? You poisoned it with crack. That's what you did. Yeah, don't get it twisted. And while people got it their own, well, the bottom line is the fact's a fact. Yes, people had the right to make their own decisions. I overdosed. It was on me, not the drug dealer. I'll put that down. I'll lay that premise down. But the fact of the matter is, you poison the streets. And the laws are now all these long-term sentences. They're all trying to get out of jail now. Well, you did a crime. You did a crime. Oh, the sentences are too long. The sentences are too long for poison in a community. The sentence, the people that died because of your actions, what's their sentence? Their sentence is a life sentence and a death sentence in a coffin. That's the fallout from that. All you old drug kingpins crying about the prison sentences are too long and everything else. You're paramount to being murderers. The collateral damage and what crackheads were doing to society, all the crime the crackheads were killing and robbing. And who was supplying that? You, unique Mecca Hall. So don't be up there crying about that the sentencing laws are too harsh and everything else, and everybody should get out of prison. What about, I wonder how those families feel that were the victims of crackheads that got, their family members got murdered because a crackhead needed a $20 bill to go get a rock. So don't get it twisted, unique Mecca Hall. Don't get it twisted. The mafia had more class and respect for the community than what the crack dealers and the crack drug kingpins were doing to New York City. So you want to keep it real? You want to ride with me? You want to ride? Yeah. Shout out to unique Mecca Hall, God. Yeah, shout out. Yeah, hit the applaud button. Come on, man. Come on. Unique Mecca Hall, likable guy, tells great prison stories. I took a liking to him. I'll keep it real. I took a liking to him. He did his time like a man, and I applaud that. But as I watch you, bro, you're acting like, you know, them Italians in Brooklyn and Bensonhurst and Queens and all that, you think you were punking them? Not even if they're in the mafia or not, just regular citizens. You ain't punking them. And then you act like the white boys in jail. Well, that ain't us. That ain't us. There might be a couple punks in jail that you guys raped and the booty bandits got and all that. Yeah, there's some of them. They ain't us. You'd have had to fight us every day. That's all. And you know it. So don't make that seem like that's the narrative. You know, the Caucasians or the white boys and all that. I mean, yeah, there's punks that could be a punk in any affiliation, but don't act like that's the narrative. All right. Don't act like that's the narrative. Okay. I know many people that have been in state prison and federal prison that are 70 years old today. So don't make that. And I talk to them a lot. And I talk to a guy, so don't put it down like that. You could be gang affiliated, yes, and roll with whatever camp you want to roll with. But some people didn't roll with anybody. It's just like they're going to defend themselves. Best man win. If you get ambushed, they didn't play that. So yeah, there was a lot of submissive blacks that went to prison that got preyed upon. And there were a lot of whites that went to prison and got preyed upon. That's common knowledge. That's common sense. But don't put it out there like, he calls the whites Europeans. All the Europeans were just punks. Come on, man. Don't shame your channel like that. You show a little intellect and knowledge and good psychology. Yes, tell great stories, but don't shame yourself like that. Okay, bro? All right. I'm just a little rinky-dink channel, letting a little narrative off and everything else. But I'm just telling it from an old timer like me that knows. Now, when you were running around and that stuff was going on before you went to prison, but then you were in prison after that. So you were only getting secondhand information from whatever homies or whatever connections you had. But that wasn't the way it was going down in New York. No. There's isolated things of people getting bullied and everything else. But when you talk about the Italian mafia and the mob in that day, slow the car down. You want people to ride in your car. Well, slow that car down, Unique. Slow that car down, okay, bro? Because it ain't the true commentary. It ain't the true flavor. It ain't the true posture of what was going on. You ain't gonna punk a regular Italian civilian without any, who ain't in the mafia. You ain't gonna go down over there and punk some regular. Yeah, there's some punks in every race. There's punks in every nationality, but you ain't gonna just randomly go down over there and just try to punk somebody off or whatever. Like you guys, like Harlem was punking the whole New York City. Come on, man. And he won't even slow down on and saying what I'm saying. Yeah, there's crazies everywhere that could just pull a trigger. They don't care. Yeah, that's easy. That's common sense. That's common knowledge. There's just crazies that will just and when you started that crack epidemic, them crackheads would go kill at the convenience store for a $20 bill. So you could get a crackhead to kill anybody. Come on. In the mafia, you couldn't buy you couldn't get a murderer for hire for a $20 bill, bro. I'm saying here's an organization, the mafia, 5 families, and here's a drug organization. And what was the damage that was done to society? The mob killed their own. The mob hurt their own, more or less. They hurt the wars between the families, and they killed their own within the families. My relative was an enforcer that did that within the family that he was more or less associated with. And then he did it to other families, but they did it to their own. A compare and contrast would say, well, crack's fucked up the whole country, let alone New York. And in your defense, you did your time. You took it like a man, and you're trying to thrive. And I respect the hustle and everything else. But don't just keep trying to give that punk narrative to the Italians or whoever was in New York, or how you paint your picture, because it ain't like that, bro. And anybody our age that's been around the block a few times will know the difference. That's all. I know you're trying to get subs and viewers, and you're begging every 5 minutes for whatever. Hit the money app, hit the cash app. I know you're begging every 5 minutes. I know it's part of the hustle. I understand that. I begged myself. So, okay. All right. Where's the book? Here. They Dead Missed. It's on Amazon. Yeah. I'm a way better writer. I see how Unique can communicate. So I could guess he's probably a good writer, because he communicates good and he tells good stories. So I can guess he's a good writer. But I'd have to say it's not better than me. I don't sit up here and beg. they dead missed. I don't sit. I give it a shout here or there, but my man be up there begging. It ain't the right Cash App. It ain't the right Cash App. It's getting old, bro. Getting old. Big old drug kingpin out up there begging. There's hustling. Hustling's one thing, and begging's another. Okay, bro. That's all I got to say. And yeah, the mafia protected the people in the streets, the fellow citizen, and everything in that. Sometimes there was fallout if somebody got hit and maybe there was a bystander that was in the wrong place at the right time. Yes, we understand that. But so, let's keep it real and everything else. When you're putting down, yes, they're both bad for society. I mean, more or less, because the mafia was shaking down places and everything else. The mafia was shaking down businesses, and that was bad for society. And the crack epidemic was hurting society. Yes, both entities guilty as charged. But if you want to peel a layer back and say, well, let's see what the collateral damage was, crack had a way deeper impact on society than the mafia running around in New York City. We were just running rackets. And yeah, there was extortion and other things. And yeah, there were some innocent people, but poisoning a community and a country, that's a whole, I don't know. What do you viewers think? What are your opinions on that? I don't have a big channel. This video ain't going to get a lot of viewers or anything like that. But you ain't going to see me up here begging. I might talk some smack here and there and say, buy the book. It's on Amazon and all this and that. But I'm just going to live my life and everything else. But when you see hustling and you see players, and he's supposed to be a big time player, which he was. But then you look at the real person. I tried to help him out and donate and everything, send him some music and then he never replied back. So I bought him. I bought him, the big Kingpin. I bought him for $50. God bless you. I'd rather have that than have him give me the shout out. I'd rather have bought him for 50 than because there's no upside what I wanted him to do anyways. But it was almost like a test, It was a little unconscious tester just to see, what is the fabric of, what's his fabric? What's the DNA? Straight up hustler. And that's all right because I respect that. But I just call it like I see it. That's all. And I understand people had the right or not to buy drugs or not. There's a store full of crack and it's I understand that. If that's the argument, it's like, well, the crackheads had a decision to do it or not. Well, yeah, I understand that argument. But if the store wasn't open, they wouldn't have had to make a choice. I mean, so you can debate that. You can debate that. But he's trying to portray the Italians and all that in so many words. And then he claims not to be racist and all this. I can't, however he tries to be a wordsmith and use certain vernacular and everything else. But a guy that's been around and dealt with many people and you had to be real mental to figure people out. You see, in his business, and when I was running around, you really watch people to figure out what their motives are and what their intentions are. Because if you don't figure it out the right way, it could be your ass in a sling. So you can read people and figure things out. He might have all those white boys fooled that are up there listening to his prison stories, or blacks and everything else that are listening and everything else. You might have them all fooled, but I got you pegged. And anybody that's got any common sense, yeah. But at the end of the day, what does that mean? They still want to hear, maybe I didn't like Sammy the Bull, but I like to hear the stories. Maybe I didn't like Mike Francis, but I like to hear the stories. Maybe I don't like Unique Mecca Hall, but I like to hear the stories. But let's just be real, bro. The Italians weren't no punks for anybody, okay? The Italians weren't punks for anybody. We had armies. Come on. You might not have even had the cartel to back your asses up. They had armies, the cartel, but when you're lower, you might be Kingpin, but you still got the main players. Hey, Lance, buddy. So don't try to make, whether it was in prison or on the streets, that the Europeans, you call them, but you should say Italians and not Europeans, or white boy as you put it. But the Italians weren't your white boy, you know. Thanks, bro. So you got that flavor about it, and a guy that's been around like me can see it, can see it. That's all. And I just want to straighten it out for the few people, that watch the social media and everything else, and then you get all these narratives from different camps and everything like that. But I'm sure most of you are smart enough to know that the 5 families, the Italian Mafia families that were in New York, didn't play second fiddle by any strong arm to anybody. So if you watch Unique Mecca Hall and talk about white boy and Europeans, and they did this, and he's trying to put the little diminishing flavor on them, it's wrong. It's wrong. The Italians could walk through Harlem and the Bronx and Queens, wherever, but some of you homeboys might have had a harder time. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I'm just saying historically speaking. That's all. A lot of time people knew what their borders were, and you stay in your borders and everything like that. You do your game within your geographical spots. Yeah, that's understandable. But things happen when it's not the way it is all the time. You might get stuck, drifted out, and you might go see a girl. You got a girlfriend that lives in that other part. When what about if you got to go up there, and now you might be a little under the gun, like, but the Italians go anywhere. I mean, I'm not saying that Harlem wasn't treacherous. I ain't saying Harlem wasn't treacherous. My godfather, God rest his soul, did a lot of running around in Harlem. Italian enforcer. Harlem was no joke. But I'm saying that, well, he could walk through Harlem any time of the day, but don't portray that the Europeans, which you might call them Unique, or Italians, were submissive. Oh, you might have went up to Times Square and there were some punk Italians over there, and then you guys beat them up. Okay, God bless you. Maybe you went down there on a Sunday afternoon and you guys got in a little conflict and you whooped the Italians' ass, and yeah, well, yeah, maybe that happened. Don't go up there messing with those mob families. So you think that's just the flavor of what it was, that, they went down and they punked Italians. You might have did it down in Times Square and just got some unaffiliated Italians or something. But them Italian boys were like Rocky Marciano. There was no, them boys, they didn't have to be in a mafia or anything. They'll fight you on the drop of a hat. Don't get it twisted, Unique. Don't get it twisted. That's why I say that's got a racist flavor. Why are you going to twist it up like that? One might ask himself, well, why would you do that? Because it's got a racist flavor. So, you might want your demographic of people that watch your channel to be a certain way, but I'm just saying that ain't the way it was. That ain't the way it was. There was Italians selling dope in Harlem also. Heroin and crack and cocaine on the sly or whatever, this and that, a lot of stuff that the Italians were supposed to frown upon, selling drugs and everything, which most of the families frowned upon selling drugs. But sure, it happened. I know for a fact it happened. 100% fact it happened. I mean, and that hurt a lot of people. Not like crack, though. Italians didn't sell crack. No, we didn't sell no crack. There there's a little more integrity in that. Even though you could be a killer and everything else, but some things are still left sacred. I'm sure you guys all know. So that's that. I want to speak on that. And I appreciate everybody watching in there. And Unique Mecca Hall's got a good channel. But I get a little aggravated at some of the stuff he's trying to paint. You know, he's painting polished pictures that don't really exist and never existed. So, but he's doing his thing. And he did his time. And I respect that man to man. And he's just trying to hustle. But hustle it up a different way. You don't try to put the Italians down or you make it look like innocent insults. Nah. Anybody with half a brain could see right through it. So it is what it is. God bless everybody. Thank Lance 33. You have a great day, my good friend. And I'll get back to you soon, folks. God bless you all.